Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Scott here. Thank you for joining me. It's showtime. There's a thing above me when we go live. It says it's showtime, and I click the button and go live. Guys, thank you for joining me. This was a pretty popular topic, so I'm just going to jump straight in. I want to just share as many things as fast as possible. So lots of people joined me by signing up on the webinar, so thank you for that. You guys get something special. There's no sales on this. There's zero slides and zero talk about anything. So it's not a sales fest or lead generation. I just wanted to share some information with you. Made it live so that some people can join us on different platforms. Wherever you are, thank you very much for joining me. So this was a popular topic here, guys. My 20 biggest mistakes over the last 20 years. So the reason I wanted to do this, guys, is you will know. You log on to social media and you see all the positives. You see all the good things here, guys. All you're going to see is people's positive posts, selling something, creating the best impressions of yourself, their relationships and life in general. And guys, that's fine. We're all guilty of that. We don't want to be moaning and putting bad things on. So we all create the best impressions of ourselves. I speak to lots of people in business. Business must be going great for you. It looks as if business is fantastic on social media. And they'll ask, well, that's social media. Turns out the truth isn't always the same as what they portray in social media. And that's fine. We're business people. That's what we do. But I wanted to do something different and just share the biggest mistakes I've made. I was making a cup of tea and doing a live the other morning, which inspired me to do this. I'm the best person at this. I'm the best Airbnb. I'm the best deal sourcer. I'm the best mentor out there. Everybody else is rubbish. Everybody always making these claims that they're the best. Well, what am I the best at? What do I excel at? Well, I probably have the world record of mistakes in business for service accommodation. So I'm going to rapidly go through these. I want to spend 1 minute on each of these. Guys, if you're here, put some comments in the chat. Much easier to do these when there's some interaction in the chat. And bring your questions on screen. I'm going to cover my 20 biggest mistakes. I'm also going to cover the mistakes I made that I don't regret. And a few of my biggest mistakes I wouldn't change. The 20 in here, I will go back in time and change, and I'd be a lot more richer. I'd be a lot better off. But there's mistakes I made that I wouldn't change, and I'm very, very happy with as well. We'll open it up to a live Q&A as we go through. Any comments as well, guys? Lots of people here, experienced business owners as well, that have registered. So, guys, you will have some comments and some experiences of your own. If you can think of anything that's going to add value to anyone watching live or on the replay, then just let me know. Let's just jump into this. I saw this slide, this terminology, so I plucked a slide off. Learn by doing. I've heard people say that on coaching calls. You know, it's the most fucking stupid thing ever. Hi, Jenna. Jenna, business person. That's you get exciting news for Jenna is going to be doing her business. I won't share it unless you want me to, Jenna, but I will give you a shout out and a plug for your new business. Learn by doing. Why would you learn by doing and making the mistakes? It's ridiculous. Guys, if somebody new in my business that saw these 20 mistakes and say, no, I'm not going to learn by, I'm going to learn by doing, I'm going to make all these mistakes. I'm not going to stand on the shoulder of giants and people that have already made them, like your mentors and the people in the industry that have done what you want to do. I'm going to go and make all my mistakes. Learning by doing is for martial arts and for different things. It isn't for business, guys. We want to avoid the mistakes and learn from people that have already done it. Stand on the shoulders of giants. I'd made the claim and somebody says, well, is it £50 million you would have lost? I added it up and it definitely is. We're thinking of Hello being a company that get well into the seven figures, well into £1 million turnover, should have topped that, should have went into multi millions of pounds. If I hadn't have made these mistakes, we would have been up at £3-4 million a year in revenue very, very easily, more than that. Lost opportunities, guys, the things we could have done, the expansion we could have done, the joint ventures we could have done, lost as a hell of a lot. We were over in Silicon Valley before lockdown. We could have raised $2 million of investment. We could have been purchased by some big, massive VC companies. All these things were on the cards, and my mistakes led to that not happening. Maybe a good thing in the future, we'll tell, but guys, we could have been part of a multi-billion pound organisation, and that would have led to the shares and the value of Pillow going into the tens of millions. So we were going to sell 20% of the business for $2-3 million back in the day. Different days. And assets, guys, we could have owned things. Pillow Partners is a property management company. We had lots of opportunities to actually own things, do development. So if I could go back in time, knowing what I know now, and go back when I did this webinar 20 years later, there would be £50 million extra that I would have made. So brilliant. Right, let's crack on, guys. I'm going to get these done very quickly. I'm only going to spend 1 minute on each unless we get some interaction and want to expand. Number one here, not knowing your numbers. Knowing your numbers was a term that a mentor and another organization taught me. If any of you guys are in the entrepreneur circle, one of my current mentors, Nigel Botterill, written books about this, does lots of talks on it. Knowing your numbers, not knowing your numbers in your business, not knowing your cash flow, your projections is devastating. And I always used to be of the opinion, as long as there's money in the bank and we're growing, there's a net cash surplus there, I'm happy. And I did not know the numbers of the business, and we were in the millions of pounds of turnover, thousands of clients, and guys, that was a dangerous position. So one of my biggest mistakes in the business, nearly cost me my business twice, was not having a good handle on my financial numbers, knowing exactly what money's coming in, exactly what money's going out. And we finally did start looking at this when I nearly lost everything. Looking, and guys, people with multiple subscriptions for the same thing, paying subscriptions for things that you no longer need. And it was literally saved like hundreds of thousands of pounds a year by doing this exercise and going through all the bills. We were paying 330 quid for mobile phones we didn't have, and a simple 10-minute phone call to EE got that down to 65. We were paying subscriptions for stuff. We got one thing from £6,000 down to £2,000. It was obscene, and I almost feel ashamed saying that. But not knowing your numbers, not getting a graph on your profit and loss was something I ignored, and I ignored my mentors. I skipped all those steps to move ahead for the exciting marketing things. And as long as we were growing, building businesses, getting new clients, and people were happy, I didn't need to know the numbers. That is a fundamental mistake, guys, and it has cost me millions and millions and nearly lost me the business. So know your numbers. It was said to me, nice, what's your 10 numbers on your scorecard? If you were on a desert island, you would need to know to fully comprehend the state of your business. Make sense? What are the numbers you need to know? You don't need to know everything if you're building a larger organization, but what do you need to know personally to see if your business is in good shape, to spot potential mistakes? So knowing your numbers and in 3 months operating capital in the bank. Massively important. Number two, chasing shiny objects. Any of the team that know me, we've done lots of amazing things, but we've also went off in avenues and done daft things. If I think of the money we've probably spent, we did spend over £500,000 trying to develop our own booking platform, charity focused, that linked and did check-ins and supported local businesses. A massive waste of time and resources that doesn't exist. It may still be pulled out of the drawer and reignited, but that was a massive lack of focus for me, trying to build technology platforms when we had our own already. We sent staff over to America to open with a subsidiary, a Delaware C Corp over there, ready to crack America when we were in lockdown here. We couldn't make money. It was illegal to accept serviced accommodation guests. Well, we'll go to America and we'll crack Florida because that is open. Now, that wasn't done in the best of intentions at the time, but chasing shiny things when we should stick to what we're doing. So jumping off and starting trialing new software and pissing about in things that doesn't improve your business or your life, a massive mistake for me. If I could go back, I would eliminate 75% of the noise of where my focus went. Now I'm very good at focusing these days, and I've made a commitment to myself and my team. We don't do this, but I can still feel myself getting pulled in. So we need to be focused, disciplined, guys, on your core purpose. Get your plan. Don't deviate away from the plan. Sometimes we need to pivot, and a nice example of that is AI. It'd be easy for me to just really cut off and say, I'm not going to pursue AI and all these new technologies out there. That's a mistake, and that's where it's hard to identify what is a potential mistake. The mistake would be not chasing AI. despite all the things I'm saying here, I'm not chasing shiny objects. There's lots of shiny technology and AI out there. So the mistake's not to chase that, but it's the right ones. So we chase what we do, and we need to pivot and change, guys. My business has changed massively in 18 months, and that a lot of that's to do with technology and automations. So it isn't as easy as just not chasing shiny things. You need to chase the correct shiny things, but be super disciplined and focused and cut out 90% of the noise. Cool. Any comments or questions, please pop them in. I'll bring them onto the screen. Believing that working longer is working harder. I think they call it the entrepreneur's martyrship syndrome, something like that. We're martyrs as entrepreneurs. We work hard. And a lot of entrepreneurs I know, probably the large majority, they're working longer hours for less money than they would, let's say, working as a shelf stacker in Aldi. No harm to shelf stackers in Aldi. This is a positive because you make a lot more money than a lot of small business owners there. We work hard trying to build a dream. And I know the amount of hours I worked for a lot of years. I would have been better being in the minimum wage. I remember my accountant in the early days say, Scott, you should get tax credits because you're making so little money. Abdullah, I can relate to number 3. It was devastating for me, for my accountant, for 4 years in a row when I started saying, Scott, you should earn tax credits, because tax credits are for single mums and people on benefits and people that don't work. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, I've got a high street office. But I was eligible for the amount of money we didn't make for tax credits. So that was horrific to hear, and I worked hard to get out of it. But yes, we work long hours. We tend to work more than what we would do as an employee. We are building something. And if you're focusing your time and working on those high value tasks, it makes sense. But guys, a lot of the time we spend working crazy hours. And actually, I think, is it Cunningham's law? Work expands to fill the time available. And I thought going into the office, being in for 7, working late, equated to success and being a good business leader and a good entrepreneur. And that's not the case. And I'm sure many of you were ahead of me of that journey on this call. But working smarter, working fewer hours and squeezing that time in. As you always know, if you're going on holiday, you're much more productive. You clear your desk very quickly, because you know you've got a deadline. There's no long-term thing to it. So I learned my lesson there. Going it alone for the first 10 years. Pillow Partners is different now because it is stronger together. It's one of the core values. So just having my head down. Pillow Partners is all about collaboration, not competition. Coming together, and everybody coming together as an industry. But for the first 10 years, I would be reluctant to even speak to competitors. I wouldn't take a mentor. I wouldn't do anything like that. I wanted to go alone. Again, being a martyr as an entrepreneur, thinking hard graft is a good thing. I didn't collaborate. I didn't take use of the networks that I were in, but going it alone and just trying to learn as I go. And I was badly dyslexic and didn't get a good education. And it put me back 10 years. And when I changed it to Pillow Partners, we achieved more in the first 18 months. So years 11 and 12 than we did have on the first 10 years. I managed to get 10 years worth of success into 18 months when I started changing my outlook of not going alone, collaborating, building teams, that type of thing. So mistake. Fear of what other people would think of me, guys. This has been one of my most popular webinars putting on. I can see the numbers that were registered for it. And that's not because people want to, I can learn from Scott. I would like to see his mistakes so I don't learn. They want to know people's mistakes. People want to see flaws. People want to see you fail a lot of the time. So there's quite an intrigue about this. So people's opinions here are maybe not going to be supportive of you. They're going to be critical, and they're also predominantly going to be focused on their own lack in life. So when people are saying bad things to you or criticizing when you're starting your business, the truth of it is, it isn't about you, it's about them, their lack of ambition and what they haven't achieved in life. And some of that can be the people closest to you. Now, I've never really cared that much about what people think about me as a person, but I did in business. I genuinely didn't want people to think badly of me in business, especially clients. So fear of what other people think. Stop people going on social media. Stop them doing it in case they fail. And I think in my early years, not now, my early years, I suffered from that. And I wish I had that confidence and self-belief as I do now. Now, funny enough, I put this in. Let's get that next slide on. I'll bring that up because this very webinar, there's a link for it. Many of you are on it. Alan had the loveliness to say, fuck off, Scala. And I just laugh at that and say, have a good day. Have a fantastic day. But before, if you put yourself out there, guys, and put a webinar to share some value to the audience, and somebody says, fuck off, scammer, maybe you would say, well, I wouldn't want that. That would then piss me off. By the way, I suspect Alan's on here to find my 20 biggest mistakes and throw them back at me and tell me how clever and smart he is. So no doubt Alan is here with some alias and some made-up email address to try and catch me out and criticize me. So best of luck with that. It's a good use of your time. But what I know about Alan, I don't need to see Alan's profile. I don't need to worry anything about Alan's opinion of me, because genuinely, if there's 50 different metrics where I'm measured against Alan, his opinion matters not for any of them. So you have a fantastic day, Alan, and I hope your attitude in life serves you well and you feel good about that. But when you're putting stuff out there, what if people tell you to fuck off? What if people tell you're a scam? What if people argue and tell you you're wrong? Well, that holds you back. Guys, that doesn't bother me anymore, but it might have when I was a little bit younger and inexperienced. Not completing tasks fully before moving on. Having 10 tasks on your desk that are 90% done, guys, is absolutely pointless. And this lost me a lot of these business ideas I was talking about, a lot of the partnerships and collaborations. It's resulted in lots of lost opportunities for me. Having 10 different PDFs that you're going to give to your clients or for lead generation and marketing, 90% done, is worse than one that's half-assed but is out there. Good enough is good enough, and getting things out there. There's books over there about procrastination and perfectionism. Guys, having uncompleted tasks is just absolutely pointless and useless. So work on one task until complete, even if it's not good enough. Get it out there, because all these things on your desk, if you've got a to-do list and they're all 90% done, they're not fully done. They're still there. And if you don't do this day and age, guys, it's leading to fines and it's leading to loss of income and it's leading to more costs and more admin. So I learned from that. Not building a team soon enough is number 7 here, guys. As entrepreneurs, we tend to do tasks ourselves. We work those long hours when we could outsource it or get a team member to do it. Why? Because we think we're the only ones that can do it. I'm sure other people can relate to that. If there's other business owners, we're the only ones that can do it. And it's just going to take too long to train everybody else up, and I can't pass that task over. So back in the day when we had one office, I knew all my hosts, all my landlords and hosts personally. I would know them by name. They would go to some of their places for Christmas dinner. But when we built up, there's no way I could have built Pillow without an amazing team, because we couldn't manage at our peak 1,000. There's Wayne saying, what a great team at Pillow. Thank you very much, sir. At our peak, we managed 1,000 properties across UK. I couldn't do it myself. So for me, we need amazing team members, and I need people much, much smarter than me in the organization. So, and a shout out to Wayne. And by the way, Wayne is down in the Channel Islands. Anyone watching here that's got property in Guernsey, connections in Guernsey, please email me over. I'll give you Wayne's details because Wayne is a superstar. And hey, could I go to the Channel Islands and build Pillow there? Absolutely not. But Wayne's there doing it for me. He knows about that, the tax, all the differences, all the different things there that I would have no idea of doing. So we want to build teams of Waynes. So thank you very much for that. So there's just not so much you can do yourself. It leads to a ceiling. And guys, I can trust you. Your staff members will probably be able to do it better than you think. I know that's the case for me. And secondly, would you rather have your staff doing it 90% right, but it's done and off your desk and it's a completed task that's out there that you can get a minimum viable product out? They're going to do it 90% as good as you, but you have a team of people doing it. You can add more value to your clients. So the other side of this, number 7, is not building a team soon enough. But number 8 here is a big mistake that I made, is having too many staff members. There was a time in Pillow when I had really grand plans for growth, thousands and thousands of properties, worldwide domination, and we had too many staff. Now, not that the staff were bad, it's not a criticism against the staff members, guys, but when you have lots of staff and a little bit spare capacity, it hides operational problems. We had staff members doing 5-6 hour round trips, and they were dropping things off to a property when we can't do that anymore. We had staff spending 4 or 5 hours solving a problem. And we'd rectify it, and then that problem would go away and we'd still get good reviews. And that meant on the surface everything was great with the business. But having too many resources means that problems get covered up and don't get fixed and keep happening. We had 39 staff members at one point, and we changed the business model last year, and we don't have that many, but we still have the same operational capacity, if not more. We get more done with a lot fewer staff. Why? Because mistakes happen once, they get sorted. There's operational procedures in place for these. There's technology. There's all these things that make the business better. There's a book over there, Breaking Twitter, I think it's called. Elon Musk get rid of 80% of his staff and the business made more money. 80% of his employees at Twitter, and it did the same, because 80% of those people didn't do anything that was value adding. So it's a great book. I think it's called Breaking Twitter. Breaking Twitter, there it is. I'll get it because it's right there. Definitely worth the read, guys. And I will do that, a little book review. I'll put that and I'll do a book review after this. Here's a little comment coming in, so thank you for that. The difference it makes when you have team members to pick up the tasks. I'll put that back to that last slide. In life, quite life-changing, gaining back time and focus on your business and not in it. Some great terminology, working on your business and not in it. You will be doing the highest value tasks, guys. So working on your business, massively important. You want to be working on the highest value tasks that you can do. For me, I don't answer guest calls or man a reception desk anymore, but I did for many years, because that would only take me to a certain place. My job is a lot different as the founder and the chief executive officer as a title. My job, vision, strategy, thinking rather than doing, although I do a lot of doing, but I don't do the lower end tasks. I say lower end, lower value tasks. A nice example of this is, why would I ever wash a car when I could pay somebody to do it? We have a cleaner, Emma and I. Not that it's a fancy thing. And I was like, well, a cleaner? You're paying for a cleaner, Scott, when we first started dating? And I said, yes, because why would I clean? I could pay a cleaner £15 an hour, and I can go and earn £100 an hour. Cleaning the house for 4 hours a week means I can do 4 of these fewer. If I can get 4 hours back of my time for less than £100, it's time well spent. What can you guys do as a business owner when you focus on working on the high value tasks? So thank you very much for that comment. Put these slides back up. I want to wrap through. Lovely. Not creating solid operational procedures, guys. This is massively important. Getting documents for absolutely everything in place. Why? Because you can't do everything all the time. You need to train team. You might be off sick. You might want to do something else, take some time off, but you need these things done. Think of McDonald's. McDonald's is one of the best in the world at this. Wherever you go in the world, they will drop a 16-year-old kid in with no experience, and they will make you a burger the same as somebody that's done it for 40 years. Why? Because they do it the exact same. They cook it for the exact amount of time. They shake the fries a certain amount of time. They put the amount of salt on. They don't leave it to chance. It's exactly the same. Probably every McDonald's in the UK. Differences in the world, but essentially it's a standard set of operating procedures. All McDonald's is a guidebook. It's a manual of staff on how to do things, and they don't deviate from it, and they measure against that. You need documents for absolutely everything, guys. We have like 353 at the last count in Pillow of how to do things. Upload property to Airbnb, refund a guest, and change things, all these things there. So you need to document this. Days gone by, you'd write it and put it in a big folder. Then you move to online drives. Now you can do screen recording on places like Loom. So You can record this in a software like Scribe, I believe, that lets you do it step by step, because you can train VAs to do this, you can train your replacements. I've mentioned about getting other people to do it, but you need to train them to do it the way you do it. Beautiful. Number 10, let's crack on. Taking advice from people less successful than me. Should I take advice from the guy that told me to fuck off? Scammer? Should I be taking advice on business from someone that hasn't got a business? Should I be taking fitness advice from someone that's super unhealthy, overweight, isn't happy with themselves, horrible skin, doesn't do any gym stuff? Should I be taking advice off those types of people? No. Should I take advice on investments about someone that's never made investments, that's just sitting in a pub drinking a pint, believing they're smart because they've read a newspaper? No. So neither should you. Not saying don't take advice, but take advice. Not saying don't take advice from people more successful than you. Definitely. These guys are mentors. You can skip the learning and the mistakes, exactly what you guys are doing here. But if I start to talk to you guys about about being an architect or a vet, don't listen to me, because I don't have any success in that. If I'm talking about service accommodation and mindset, perhaps, well, listen to me. But if I'm starting to talk to you about something I don't know about, I'm probably less successful than you in that area, and my opinion doesn't matter. So be very careful about who you take advice from and where your focus goes. Not spending money on marketing soon enough. So being very lucky in Pillow, we went 15, 16 years without spending one penny ever on marketing. And we got to probably 1,000 properties that we managed at one time, and tens of thousands over those years. We didn't spend money in marketing. It was all organically. I think I've spelled marketing wrong there, so that's fine. Somebody will be commenting that and said you made 21 mistakes. By the way, guys, on that, I will put 30 bits of content out a week. And if there's one spelling mistake, someone will comment on that. And that's that type of attitude. Somebody will say you made a spelling mistake. I'm badly dyslexic. You're lucky there's only one. There's probably several more to come. But if somebody's reading 30 bits of your content and you're doing things like this, and then someone focuses and says you spelt marketing wrong, who are you to be taking advice from? Then that shows the mentality. So money on marketing. I have spent lots of crazy money in marketing that has not paid off, but I should have had a machine in place for this much, much sooner. Relying on that organic growth has led us to grow very, very slowly compared to what we could have done. But spending money in the wrong places is also a problem. This nearly ruined my business last year, skipping the paperwork and boring admin. Some people love admin. It's not boring. It's a fundamentals. It's a framework of a business. I am now loving boring admin because I've ticked it away. I've done the paperwork. The business is safe and secure. But last year, the business nearly died because I skipped paperwork. In the world we live in with guys, the digital ID is already in. It's already there. So forget your petitions and forget all this nonsense. It is already there. You just don't know it. If you're a business owner, you will know it. It's all in place, and you need absolutely everything to do any financial transactions, to run a business, to change your driving license. You are going to have a government ID. So you're not going to get the opportunity to cut corners, to scrimp and save. But guys, you need to do this. We're now in a state and living working at a world where every single thing you do will be scrutinized. Even payments over 800 quid is going to be held. You're going to need to have paperwork for this. All of these things, just the world we live in, knowing your customer, knowing who you're doing business with, anti-money laundering, all of these things, is the compliance you need as a business owner is going to go up times 10. It's already doubled in the last few months from when I did all the things last year. I'm like, shit, there's so much stuff. Not doing paperwork, missing the fundamentals, getting the boxes ticked needs to be done. If it's not you that's going to be doing it, someone else definitely needs to do it. And I missed lots of paperwork, left in a big pile, didn't bother with stuff, and it nearly lost everything last year or a few years ago. Number 13, not delegating tasks soon enough. Well, we've covered this, the difference it makes when you have team members. Guys, people would do things better than me or 90% as good as me. If I had a team member at 40 staff, as we'd said, 39, all doing things 90% as good as me, that is much better position than me trying to do everything. So delegating tasks to your team, to VAs, to other people that are better than you. and they will be better than you. You stick to what you're good at, and you stick to the stuff that is the high value tasks. Because if I run a management company and went and did all the guest communications, that running about giving keys, meeting cleaners, dealing with those type of things, I would never be able to get new clients on as a property manager. I'd never be able to grow my business because I'm working in it rather than on it. So delegating the tasks so that you, and then they can upskill and delegate to other people. But guys, making sure you're doing the highest value task possible in your business. And that process of finding out what that is very interesting, and finding out what your hourly rate is. If your hourly rate is more than 15 quid a month, get a cleaner. If it's more than 20 quid a month, get a bookkeeper doing your bank reconciliation. Don't be sitting doing your own accounts and books when you could go and earn £100 an hour on a call, for example. Why would you spend an hour doing your own books when you could go out and earn £100 as an electrician or a plumber? Doesn't make sense. So delegate those tasks. I wish I had done it. Complacency about keeping customers, guys. This is one. We got a lot of customers back in the day. We were the only SA company for a long time in our area. There was nobody else there in the west coast of Scotland. We had lots of nice networks, lots of people referred as business. We had been in business a little while. And I just assumed people would stay with us. Now I'm very grateful for every single customer that's with us, every single person that's part of the team, every franchisee. I do not take it for granted, but we did, because we were growing and my focus went to all these other places. When we were the only company that did SA management in our area back in the day, it was easy for us to get business. Now there's 5 a day popping up, and technology, kids can go up and get websites on AI and be competitors in days. Not very, very simple. Never been a better time to set up in business. And in the property and the SA industry, every second person that walks past an SA is now a mentor, a coach, or has an SA business. So it's different days. I'm not ashamed, but I look back and I'm very sad that I was complacent about keeping the customers. Now, we're very lucky. We've kept people. I think we've had some landlords with us for 18 years. 1 or 2 is on this call that have been with us for more than a decade. But I do not, I'm not complacent about our customers, guys. You might not know if you're a customer because you don't see the stuff behind the scenes in the team chats. But I want to fight hard to keep every single person that's put their trust in me and my business over the years. And my focus as a CEO isn't doing the doing and firefighting and doing all the things we used to do in the often shiny areas. It's trying to keep customers and make sure that we are doing the right thing. So there's lots of things happening behind the scenes at Pillow, but don't just, if somebody's a customer with you, even if they're satisfied, they could leave just because they've got a personal connection. Somebody offering it 10% cheaper. Lots of opportunities for guys to leave you. So treat your customers well. Thank them. Show them that you're grateful. It'll pay off. Number 15, leadership skills. I debated whether to swear on this or not, but I'm going to say shit because it was the way I communicated with my staff 10 years ago, 15 years ago, was horrific. You could not get away with being that sort of leader these days, because if you say a word that upsets somebody, I think back to when I was a couple of years into business as a 24-year-old or something like that, 24, 25. An immature leader, and the communication style to my team back then, they would cry. It wasn't a good way to communicate with them. Also wasn't a good leader regards the way we manage the staff, incentivize them. I've worked very hard in personal development to try and be that leader. And the next thing was starting off where I started off in business with very little experience and from a poverty type background. I did not have these high level skills. I hadn't worked for large companies before. So every day we were learning new things. So upskilling yourself as a leader, making sure you have the abilities and the mindset. We've had we're starting a 5-figure business, then we made 100 grand a year, which is amazing. To get a 6-figure business, then when we topped into a 7-figure business, you need to upskill your leadership skills at every single level here. And if we're trying to build things to get to an 8-figure business, I'm going to totally transform as a leader again. So constant development on your leadership skills, guys. If I could go back with the leader I am these days, the business would be massive. Number 16, we're coming to the end, guys. Not leveraging connections or your network. All of these mistakes up to now in the paperwork led to points in my business where we nearly lost everything. And I had to, I shared this and called upon people for help. And I did not realize just how supportive people were of Pillow and myself. And we found out last year and the year before, both Emma, by the way, 8th of October, I am getting married in 1 month's time, exactly a month today. Em and I are getting married. So we found out that people were super supportive. We had all these connections and people, well, it was just people, but they were amazing. So if I had to think back of all the opportunities we've missed because people have been in our network, and they say the old cliche of your network is your net worth, but these people would have done anything for us, and I would do anything for them. So going it alone, go back to one of the slides, the people in your network that can help you. And guys, when you become successful, you will help other people get up. The only people that are going to criticize you and not help you and be negative to you, like the guy that did it earlier, are people below you. People who are above you on your journey will not be criticizing you. They don't care about your spelling. They're not going to be swearing at you on social media. The people that are above you, that are confident, will be super happy to help you. They'll give you their connections. They'll make introductions. They'll help you in some way. They might invest in your business. All of these things. The only people that are going to make comments like that are people that are well below you, or indeed are threatened by where you are going in life. So that's a super important thing. But if I think back to a wider network and all of these things I could have done with those guys, helped and added value to them, it's cost a lot of money. Number 17, not having great mentors soon enough. If you guys, because Wayne was in the call this morning, I was mentoring at 7:30 in this spot this morning for an hour, but then I went and did 2 hours where I was getting mentored. Em and I are over to Alicante tomorrow morning for a business retreat. Having mentors that have been there and done it are just going to accelerate your progress. If you're new to business and you're looking at these 20 mistakes and you're taking some notes and it's avoiding you, and you're going to avoid those mistakes, then guys, imagine spending an hour, imagine them looking one-on-one with your business and helping you. So I bring all the mentorship that I get back to Pillow, and we've got 3 different things we do, some super exciting things happening there. But guys, people that have been it and done it in your industry, or for mindset, again, I've got a personal coach, I've got a fitness person, so a fitness coach, personal trainer, online. I currently have 3 different mentorship programs that I am in. So guys, not leveraging, and again, I didn't want to take advice from other men. I didn't want to spend money on this. I didn't have money to do this. So, and guys, you'll get mentors for free. You don't necessarily need to do it. You can be part of a mastermind group with people that are the same level as you, that can draw experience. I'm not saying spend money, but I would have got better mentors and listened to them much earlier, probably 12 years earlier than I did, because I've started doing this recently. So I massively see the value in it. Number 18, not going 10x on social media soon enough. I thought I was. Back in the day, I was one of the first ones to be making videos, and I look at my old YouTube and I was so young and inexperienced. But I didn't. I was just doing a couple of posts a week. Guys, if you're following me on social media, I'm doing 2-3 posts a day. I've 10x'd it recently, and that is paying off. I thought I was going all in social media. If I could go back in time, it's one of the things I would have done. I've just doubled down everything and built not a profile, but had more following. There's people there with hundreds of thousands of followers that had none the same time I had none, and they've done nothing special to what you or I would. There's people in your industry, there's people in your business category that have so much less knowledge and credibility than you do, but they've put themselves out there more than they have a big, massive following. So women can shake their booty on social media and do 5-second snaps and get hundreds of thousands of people in comments. It's easy to do. There's so many people doing it. So I wish I could go back in time and build that, because that is a marketing tool. That's an asset for yourself and your business. So I need to continue what I'm doing, and it's paying off because I can now see the statistics. But I see people with a YouTube following, the Facebook following, and they're doing this, and they do a webinar like this and get 1,000 times the people I get. But we started at the same time. And if I could go back knowing about social media, what I know now, I would have put more effort into it. Guys, be a producer, be a creator, not a consumer. If you're going to sit on social media for an hour a night, make sure you're doing something, adding value to your audience. Coming to the end, working with the wrong type of customer. I had said earlier, I think we had 1,000 properties all across the UK, from as north as you could get to as south as you could get, with different types of properties, rent-to-rents, apart hotels, B&Bs. I was trying to grow the business. We got lots of people coming to us, but they were the wrong types of customers. It was people who took up lots of time, had bad properties. Their core values didn't align with us. They were not good hosts. They did not have good properties. And I'm not criticizing those customers, but they weren't a good fit for us. And sometimes we weren't a good fit for them. If we were too far away geographically, or the property manager that covered that area had a personality clash, well, we try to make these things work. So guys, when you're starting off, you will be jumping in business and taking as many customers as you can to get that income. But trust me, it's much better to be selective. Work with the people that get you, that are going to appreciate what you do, that are going to pay you in time, and that are going to be ambassadors for you and your business, not going to be time vampires. And it's a good match for them as well. We manage properties everywhere, any properties. And now that we look at the host more than the property, and we can probably work with any property, but we look at the host to see if it's a good match for us. And that's going to be the fundamentals of our business moving forward. So a mistake we made is just taking any customer. Last one, not having a sales funnel in place, guys. Sales funnel is just terminology. Again, I'm going to go back to, I think, the first slide. The Entrepreneur Circle, and Nigel Bottrell talks about this, a rhythmic acquisition of customers, not having a plan in place. Guys, when you're growing your business, like us as property managers, even if we were 100% perfect and Scott didn't make mistakes, because all these 20 mistakes we've solved, but I will make other mistakes, people will still leave. They'll just leave because they're selling their property. They'll leave because they no longer want to do it. They'll switch agents, lots of things. So even if we were perfect, there'll be a natural churn of 10% of your customers on average. So having a sales funnel, having things in place, don't rely on it. Don't keep it ad hoc and say, I'll do a Facebook ad campaign here, or I'll advertise at that show. Having a strategic plan where you can measure and actually see what things are working and what doesn't. So a solid marketing plan, sales funnel, whatever you want to call that, guys, is imperative as a business owner. So that is a mistake I made. We relied on organic growth. Going back, I'm going to have strategies in place to get new customers, but the right type of customers. Right, guys, thank you very much for that. I'm going to finish on a little segment here. Please ask your questions. I'd love to answer them. I tried to do one of those 20 things in 1 minute, so that should have taken me 20 minutes. We're over that. I've made some, by the way, just there are 20 mistakes, and it sounds as if it's a little bit of a pity party, and I've made these mistakes. I'm massively proud of what I've done, despite all those mistakes, and I'm being honest and open about them. We've got a wall of awards there. We've got an amazing team. We've got so many happy customers. We've previously had unhappy customers. I am massively proud of my professional development as a leader, and I'm proud of what we've built. So all those negatives aside, we've got a lot of things right. But this segment here is mistakes I don't regret making, because I've been told I've made mistakes before, I've been wrong. But these are things I wouldn't go back and change. The 20, I would, because it would have an impact to the tune of £50 million. The business would be valued at tens of millions rather than a million or 2 million, whatever. We would have had assets, we would have all this income. We would have easily been able to get to £3-4 million a year of income in the business for the last 8 years. All these things would have compounded to being £50 million better off. These are the mistakes I don't regret making. Number one, being too ambitious. Emma's been part of my journey, my fiance, future wife. She saw when we first started, and we have mentors and coaching. They say, Scott, you're too ambitious. Emma, what was the terminology? You're trying to boil the earth. What's it? Trying to boil the. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, you're trying to do too many things. You're too ambitious. Who are you to be trying to crack America and have a UK-wide company, do these things that were impossible? I don't regret that. We've wasted a lot of money. We've wasted a lot of resources. We've wasted a lot of focus. But I look back and think, wow, it was amazing that Scott Weir had that ambition. And it's the one thing I've had. That ambition has pushed us through all those mistakes to keep going. And it's the ambition, the desire, the burning passion that you guys will have as entrepreneurs if you're watching this. And lots of you stayed to the end. Thank you. If you have that burning desire as an entrepreneur and that ambition to change your life and change other people's and add value to people's life in exchange for money, that's what a business is, a value exchange, then that ambition is probably going to get you through more than skill and talent and experience. It certainly has me. So I don't regret being that ambitious. I've not been scared to be bold and take chances. And the team most put their sense, Scott, you're taking chances, you're doing crazy stuff again. We don't do that these days, but I have in the past. So I don't regret being ambitious, and neither should you. That unrealistic self-belief, going in and just that believing, I don't know, I don't have any skills or experience. I remember walking down the high street. I'm going to start a letting agency 20 years ago. There's big multi-story properties with fancy windows and lots of farms and properties for sale and to let. It was impossible for me to do that, guys. Literally, if somebody come up and said, asked me the same thing, I'd say, it's impossible to compete in that market, guys. I don't think that's realistic. Focus on something a little bit better. I didn't have that. I just had that drive and desire. So I don't regret that. I haven't been arrogant with it. I've never got the grandiose effect of thinking I'm smarter and better than I have been. Hopefully you would agree with that if you know me. But that unrealistic self-belief that I don't know what it is I have, but I'm going to do something in my life. I'm going to change from needing to steal food from supermarkets, needing to get 50 pence for the 50 pence meter because we had no electricity because my mum was an alcoholic and we lived in poverty, to from going to school with holes in my shoes and having wet feet all day, just thinking I'm going to get out of this, and it's impossible to do so, but we did it. So that unrealistic self-belief, it's what entrepreneurs have, it's what drives them forward. So that's a mistake I don't regret. It was insanity. When I look back, it was just a total reality distortion bubble. But that unrealistic self-belief got us to where we are. It's probably going to get you to where you are as well. And I was in a position many times, if we've done some amazing things, I've been in some amazing leadership programs, some great funded things. The government's paid for me to go to Silicon Valley twice, to study in Boston College twice over in America. We get paid to do so many things. We won so many awards and we're part of so many business accelerator programs. And I remember being in the room of 20 other leaders and being the odd one out. I was the different one. Everyone had these classical ideas of how to do things and run businesses and be a leader. And I remember just being a total outcast, being totally different to everyone else. And the first 5 times of that, I was like, I'm an imposter. These guys are all proper business people with, and I've got an MBA, I've got a business degree, but they were totally different. They were professional, classical business people. And I was just a little council person that's made good. And I did things different. I had different views and opinions. And I felt bad for that. And I hid under the radar these things because I thought I'm different. I'm the odd one out of 20, 30 people in the room. Now I'm proud of that. So doing things different, having a different mindset and attitude. Yes, it's led to lots of mistakes you've just seen, but there's some magic there as well, guys. Being dyslexic, the woman that diagnosed me with dyslexia did the test, said, Scott, you're really rubbish at 99% of things in life. You have the superpowers, 3 superpowers with your dyslexia: spatial awareness, creativity, and problem solving. My brain is scruffy, it's mental. Some would argue I'm on the spectrum and have bigger problems and should be diagnosed with lots of isms, but I'm proud to be different. If I go into a room of 100 people and I'm different, guys, I'm the only one with shorts on in any room. Everybody's got business stuff on and suits and ties. I'll go in with shorts because that's what I feel comfortable. I don't care about being different. I'm proud to be different. I don't do it to be controversial, but I was really self-aware of being different to all these other business leaders that were setting business up, because my views on it were different. Some of that has led to losing tens of millions of pounds and has been a mistake, but all in all, be proud of who you are, guys. You are individual. You don't need to be the same as anyone else. And if you're trying to emulate what other people do, you are not them. You're going to charge your own path. So that's it, guys. Any questions? I wanted to just share open and frankly some of the mistakes I've made. There's been a few different comments in, so thank you very much. It's coming up for 50 minutes, so I appreciate all the guys that gave me 50 minutes of their time. Any final questions before we wrap up, and I'll let you guys go. The guys that registered on the webinar for the link that we showed, that's fantastic. Thank you. Because you're on my email address, I will send you something over. You're on the email list. Please feel free to unsubscribe if you didn't like this. But guys, I'll send you something over for subscribing. If you happen to stumble across this, thank you very much for your time on social media. Do you have a stock of Pillow Partners badges I can have? You will not believe the stock that I have here. So we have lots of nice things. So yes, Wayne, we do have, don't know about badges, but I've got pillows, I've got brochures, I've got folders. So I've got loads of cool things that we can get to you. So yes, we have lots of branded merch. If you guys saw my post, I only wear pillow stuff and gym stuff. So one final comment. Thank you very much for that. I'll finish the formal part of that. Moji's asking a big question, so I'm going to bring that over here. And we'll finish it. I find guests often hold my short-term rental to different standards than they would a hotel, which is unfair. For example, a lot of reviews are based on personal taste, mood, or their misaligned expectations. A lot of reviews are not actually factual operations and things I can fix. 100% curious how you deal with that. So we're going into some nice business stuff here. So fantastic. I like this one. If you're not in the service accommodation industry, guys, this might not interest you. But if you are, this is a great example. So two things we need to do here. Number one is set guest expectations with what the property is. So the expectations and what you're delivering. We deliver that, guys. We sometimes take professional pictures and stage them and make them look amazing. And that isn't what they get, because it changes. People are expecting hot croissants and orange juices and freshly cut bread, because that's what our pictures do. So we set expectations for the guest in advance. We don't leave it to chance. You're 100% right. We know that guests will have that. Different cultures, different ways of doing things, very negative towards things to try and get discounts. So these things happen. So expectations, we always do a call as soon as we get the booking. So the property manager will phone and say, "Hi Moji, thank you for booking with Pillow Partners. You might have booked through Airbnb." This is our script. "Thank you for booking. You might have booked through Airbnb or Booking.com. My name's Scott. I'm your property manager. I'm your dedicated property manager for your stay. Can I ask, thank you for coming, how many people are in your party? What are you coming to the property for? Oh, you're coming to a concert. Oh, it's your 20th anniversary. That is fantastic. And what made you book this property over the others? Cool. Just to let you know, I'll give an example. It sleeps 6 people, but 2 are in a sofa bed. Ah, okay, I didn't read that. So people won't read it. So reaffirm, make sure your guest book is fine. Make sure what they book is right to what they think they book, guys. There's people that says, the title says, sunset views, 2nd floor apartment. And they turn up and they didn't know it was a 2nd floor apartment, even though it was in the title, even though it's in the guest brochure. So you need to phone up. People book things they don't read. They skim over it, or they make mistakes, so it's not their first language. So setting expectations. Then again, the day that they're going to turn up. Hi, just to let you know, it's remote check-in. Do you know you coming? What time do you expect to be here? How many are your party? Cool, perfect. So you're doing that. Another thing I always say to our hosts, the people that we manage property for, is to expect this. So, Moji, it can create an emotion in you when this happens, which could be disappointment, could be anger, could be frustration. But we need to expect that as service accommodation operators. There's 8 things we teach our hosts that we need them to expect that. Guests will leave bad reviews. Guests will damage your property. even though you've got the levels and standards. You would never do that, but they would. And guests will cancel bookings at that last minute, leaving you out of pocket. So there's things that we would expect, so that when these things happen, we don't get emotionally involved, because we're not getting distracted. So there are things. Now, the other thing to do is the guest follow-up call to say, 24 hours after they move in. And when you're doing all these calls and you scale up to get to a lot of properties, it's hard to do this. So, hi, Moji, thanks for booking the apartment. You checked in last night. How was your first night at the property? Well, let me tell you, it's cold, it's noisy. I couldn't find the spare bedding for the sofa bed. There's no iron. Let me solve that. So contact them the day after they move in to stop them giving that bad review, preventing that and giving them an opportunity. Now, easier said than done, because you've highlighted people just have unfair expectations. We had budget apartment in the title for one. It was budget motorway apartment. It was £28 a night, as you might expect, right next to the motorway in Glasgow. £28 a night, budget motorway apartment. They were expecting it to be a penthouse. It was £28 a night. So setting expectations and giving guests a chance to cancel if they're going to be like that. With somebody giving a review saying the step was too high and they wanted a full refund because the front step at the front door was too high. People make excuses, people lie, because a property isn't nice. So another thing, and the final thing for everyone, is if we're getting lots of reviews saying the same thing, it may be that our expectations of our own property are a little bit different to what guests would expect, because we might say, in a nice example of this, we had 5 guests in a row give a negative review saying the bed was rotten, the bed was horrible, the bed was hard, it needed to be replaced. And when we told the host, they said, laying that, the bed's fine. Right, okay, but you're not sleeping in it, Mr. Host. So the host was adamant that these 5 guests were wrong. What do you get? Who do you think was right, guys? Was it the 5 guests that independently, without knowing each other, gave a review about the bed, or was it the host? Who was right? I think we're all going to say it was the guests, and we're going to get 5 more reviews for that, indefinitely, because everybody's going to want refunds and say the bed was rubbish. So with that, the host was wrong. So we need to self-evaluate. Hopefully these different things help you. Cool. Right, let's have a little look. Wayne, what would you say is your biggest business achievement to date, and what you were most proud of? If I'm being open and honest here, I would say the last year. I've been in business 20 years. I think I developed more of a leader last year. I said all these mistakes that I've made came to a head, all of them my fault, some random things and daft bits and bobs with banking and stuff out with our control. But I would say I've progressed more as a leader in the last year in business than the previous 19 years. And I'm going to share a little way of looking at this, because I would say we've achieved we've got lots of awards, we've done loads of amazing things, we've overcame impossible. We got through lockdown and grew during lockdown. We did amazing things with Pillow, again, down to the team. I think my biggest achievement is my growth over the last year, because last year lots of things came to a head which was my fault. And I looked at myself and thought, shit, I'm not the leader I am not the right leader to take Pillow to being a £10 million revenue business. Maybe all my thoughts of myself as a person were wrong. And I questioned myself. I analysed, thinking, well, if I was Scott Weir and I was as good as I thought I was, surely all of these things wouldn't have happened. And I'd heard an amazing thing, and I'll try and articulate this, but if I had a video, I'd play it. I heard a thing, and it was, if there was a God out there and you were praying to a God for something, you were asking for the strength to get over something, for the ability to be a certain person. And this isn't religious, because I'm not religious, but it was an analogy. And it was, if you had to ask God or a higher power or a supernatural thing or the creator, I want to do something in life. I want to be the type of person that can achieve something. I want the strength to overcome all of this. So whatever you're asking for, let's say there was a God and he had to grant that. How would God grant that? So if I wanted to be the leader that could run, if I wanted to be the perfect leader that could build take Pillow from 2 million quid to 10 million pounds in revenue, if I wanted to be the leader that inspired my team, that created operational procedures, that gave world-class property management, if I wanted to be transition and get to be that person, because I did when I made these mistakes, I wanted to be the leader I needed to be for Pillow. But the question this person asks, if there was a God and you ask that, how would he deliver that? Would he click his fingers and just make you that type of person? Or would he give you the challenges for you to overcome, to have the confidence and the belief and the experience to be that type of person? So I'm not articulating that well, guys, because I'm very passionate about it and emotional. But when I heard that, I'm like, if there's a bigger plan, because I was like, why is all this stuff happening to me? I'm ethical. Why would all these things happen? But I'm trying to say that if there was a bigger plan and a power in the world, then how would that manifest for me to be the leader I needed to be to solve all those mistakes? Well, it would be to be forced and put through the situation where I had to develop very fast as a leader. I would need to totally transform from caterpillar to butterfly, from happy-go-lucky leader, and don't think everything will work out, to being a professional person that does the paperwork, that doesn't make mistakes, that doesn't focus on stupid stuff. And that's what happened last year. And I hated it at the time. It was the worst year of my life. But now I look at that and I'm thinking that was a blessing. That was a godsend. And I'm not being religious because I'm not religious. So my biggest thing I'm proud of is that we took those lessons, we changed them, we put them into business. And I'm going to find a better way, Wayne and everybody, of articulating that in a short 1 minute video. But how would God help you? Don't mean God, but how would you be the person you need to be to support your family, to be a leader, to achieve what you wanted to be? Would it just happen overnight and click your fingers because you wouldn't appreciate it? Or would you be given the challenges to shape your personality, your self-belief, your resilience to be that type of person? So, guys, that's an emotional thing. So thank you. People, you love that. Definitely, he would give you the challenges to train you. It's like a marathon. You want to train for a marathon. Well, you don't just click your fingers and do it. You need to train. You need to become that person physically and mentally. So on that note, I'm getting emotional on that, guys. So thank you for that question, Wayne. That one caught me off guard, but I am glad I finished on that. And I think that's my biggest achievement. I think it's self-development, because that's going to allow me to do more in the next 2 years with Pillow and the amazing people in it, and deliver more value to our clients than I've done in the last 20 years. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your time. We went into an hour and I can see the numbers at the top. Some of you have stayed for that whole time. Thank you. Have a fantastic day. Cheers, everyone.